how's it going guys? TechSnackles here, and I'm glad to be back. I'm working on a video, an apology video, to explain to you guys why I've been away for so long. But today's video is about iOS 9, which was announced yesterday at a star-studded WWDC keynote where we even saw Drake go on stage. But besides that, we saw Apple unveil Apple Music and the upcoming updates for its operational systems. All the updates though weren't really major updates, they were mostly improvements in terms of performance and just mainly long overdue improvements, for example for iOS, which I'll talk about in a bit. So I decided to make this video to talk about my top 5 favorite iOS 9 features that are coming. There aren't a lot, so this should basically cover up the biggest new features. So without further ado, in no particular order, we're gonna start with smaller improvements. So there are quite a few small but noticeable improvements, including the keyboard, for example, which is when you switch between uppercase and lowercase, the letters would just all continue to be in uppercase in the keyboard, but now they actually switch between uppercase and lowercase depending on which one you select, which is really useful to know in which setting you're in. On the iPad, the keyboard also now serves as kind of a trackpad, so using 2 fingers you can actually kind of control the cursor on the iPad, if that makes sense. So basically, if you want to select text, you could just use 2 fingers to drag along and you'll select the text. This isn't necessarily an improvement, but you'll definitely notice is that iOS 9 actually replaces the Helvetica font, which was introduced with iOS 7, with the new Apple Watch's San Francisco font. Siri has also gotten smarter, and I feel like I talk about this in every single update of iOS, but this time it's actually real. It now knows more about you and more about what's on the screen, and it's integrated into search, so you don't need to hold down the home button to then speak to it to get results. You can just type it in and you get instant results. And that leads me on to the next top feature, which is Proactive Assistant. So if you know Google now, you know how amazing it is, you know how everyone in iOS kind of wants to have it, and you know how Siri is extremely really lacking behind, and you know Google now basically has no competition. Well, yesterday Apple introduced Proactive Assistant, which is basically Siri's sidekick and is meant to be one step ahead of you. So for example, if it knows you go on runs in the morning, as soon as you plug your headphones in the next morning, it will have music ready for you to play. Or for example, if you get a notification on your email about an upcoming event that you're going to, it will create a suggested event on your calendar. Now, Proactive also has other features that can be accessed on the search screen, which has moved back to the left. So basically Google Now. Now my next feature is an app. It is Notes. I think Notes got a much needed update with new features such as the ability to sketch. So you can basically draw a note using the Notes app. You can also insert images and format your text. Next up is low power mode. There's finding no need to go around your settings all over the place to look for those switches just to save this much of battery life. According to Apple, this setting will give you up to 3 hours of extra battery life, and that is on top of the 1 hour of extra battery life they promise with the iOS 9 update. Now the last and perhaps the best feature that's only coming for iPads, that has been missing on iPads for ages, it is what I like to call real multitasking. This divides into 3 features: slide over, split view, and picture in picture. Split view is probably the coolest. It allows you to use 2 apps side by side at the same time, but it's only going to be available for the iPad Air 2. However, if you have an iPad Mini 2 or 3 or any of the 2 iPad Airs, there will be a feature called slide over, which basically lets you have 2 apps side by side, but you can only use 2 at a time. And for both those features, they're not coming for the iPad Mini 1. So yeah. Apple. The last multitasking feature is picture in picture. This allows you to basically watch a video or FaceTime over any app that you are using. So if you're using Pages to do your homework, you can continue to watch your favorite movie on top of that, or FaceTime your parents. This is extremely handy, and you can also resize and position the video wherever you want. So yeah, I believe all these features will make the iPad 100 times more useful, and it might suggest that an iPad Pro is perhaps really coming. So those were my top 5 features announced for iOS 9. You probably found those features familiar, you probably heard about them, and yes, they have been on Android, most of them, for the longest time, but it's still awesome to finally see them coming over to iOS. Anyway, I'll leave a link down below so you guys can check out the official website for iOS 9 and see the features for yourselves. If you already know all the features, be sure to tell me down below what is your favorite new feature. But anyway, guys, that is it. It's great to be back. I'm always on Twitter at TechSnackles if you want to be kept up to date, or you just want to reach out to me. At TechSnackles is the easiest way. I'm also on Periscope at TechSnackles as well. So I'm hoping to do a Periscope session soon. If you guys are interested, be sure to tell me in the comment section below. But that's all for now, and I'll see you guys in the next one.